In the beginning, the world spun smoothly on its axis. The gears of society clicked with mechanical precision, and the machine hummed its conservative tune. It was an intricate design, engineered with a simple soul: obedience. The British Empire, a leviathan of gentry and ambition, conspired to build a scaffolding made not of steel and rivets, but of paper and relentless calculation. Those columns reached across oceans, speaking only two languages: order and extraction. The 19th century breathed life into the imperial administrative system, a skeletal embrace of steel frame, corralling continents, cities, and soul. It levied its cost with bureaucracy and dispassion, a machine designed not to manage, but to dominate and consume. They called it efficiency. What no one dared to whisper was the cost, a contract written in hubris with the ink of humanity. Even when the sun set on the empire, its specter lingered. As colonies furled their flags, the true inheritance lingered in ledgers and protocols. The departed colonial masters had been careful architects, making sure the frame stood impregnable. It painted the modern world with a curious brush: liberty, framed by dominion, governance cloaked in submission, a facade that lulled many into believing they were free. At the bottom of this deceptive ecosystem, reams of paper still choke the air in government offices where ticking clocks echo like tyrannical pendulums. Documents shuffle from hand to unseen hand. Here is the man, the woman, the machine's beating hearts, hands poised uselessly at desks that could be their altars. They are ordinary, faces absent of villainy, passive custodians of a legacy they neither authored nor comprehend. They see only signatures, not stories, process cues, not consequences. The higher you climb in this concrete tower, the chill deepens. You assume a loftier perch, but the decisions signal only that the structure remains suspended in air, supported by an imperial downdraft that never went away. Those gazing from this vantage see the world through a blind tiled window, where the legacy of power is mistaken for purpose. And all the while those mercurial terms dance upon lips. Management mistaken as processing, claims hollow as the driven paperwork that undergirds it all. The anxiety of a precarious tenure, passed down in silence, thrives on a companion: fear. It's a tenderless whisper, persuading followers to stay mute, immobile, as the hierarchy has demanded since the empire's infancy. Risk your salary by asking a question, and watch the guillotine of joblessness slice the question from the air. This is a system preserved by inertia, sealed with silence. It's an unsettling harmony that resists introspection. After all, if the government is a villain, what remains of the people? It demands reflection, this mirror to our souls. Too many years lost accusing an entity that never existed outside ourselves. You, I, everyone, existing in the echo of elitist blueprints. The government isn't a monstrous alien hidden beneath our bedsheets. It's engraved in our wrists, guiding us even as it subjugates, a marionette theater with invisible strings. You weigh this revelation like heavy stones in a pocket. The distance between office and individual, the falsity of management swallowed whole. It fills you with a waking realization: the rules of engagement were always flawed. Processing, after all, is a thing of mechanics and minds devoid of vitality. Humanity wasn't built to do arithmetic for thrones. Look closer now at the architects. They sit, expired and dust scattered, upon a legacy imprinted in increments of greed. What lives between the lines is an unfinished roadmap that was never for the masses, but since has continued as though the world itself didn't alter. This quiet transition, it's not rebellion, it's simple recovery. The pressure mounts, crooning echoes of a future repaired, society calibrated, not at gavelled tables in parliament, but from the grassroots upward. Community meetings, whispers replaced by conversations that bear identities unknown to paperwork. A new machine beckons, one not smeared on parchment but in the grains of tangible progress. It begs for the damming of the old stream, for the torrent of wasted industry to cease. For once, the onus is on seeing the invisible hands that wrote this code, their history as fragile as willow twigs, snapping when invoked. Will you remain shackled in gossamer chains, or choose to render truth into practice? No longer innocent, each turn of the wheel has been individual. No respite awaits. This change is neither suggestion nor plea, but a callous fact that aches to be embraced. Perception stands at a precipice. The steady caress of inevitability lies not in bookish liberty or speeches, but in knowing where the levers have been marked upon your conscience. Its simplicity is its betrayal. Management can't be externalized. It withers when borne by systems that process without a beating heart. Some advice is foundational, scribed not in stone but in deeds. Awaken, walk away from the desk, declare it a relic and stand up, because the noise is merely static without your consent, another song in this imperial symphony. Allow humanity to guide this pen inked anew in courage, dares, and finally, management. For you, this inquiry isn't merely historical blame, it's an ultimatum etched in the gaunt expression of a worker at the margin. You observe this man freeze beneath flickering fluorescent lights, transfixed by change itself, a figure planted between tragedy's specter and the promise of truth. The final frame is a silhouette, no longer an unseen cog, but a man absorbing the marrow of his labor. We have become this question. How much longer will we allow ourselves to be trapped by processing, rather than setting our course by breath, by heart, and by purpose? All eyes now turn toward the artifacts, documents and voices long buried beneath decades of neglect, now brought into the harsh light of scrutiny. Each page, each narrative, unfolds like a hieroglyph etched into the papyrus of our collective memory, revealing not just the stories of individuals, but a comprehensive map of systemic inertia and deliberate oversight. Among these findings, we unearth the accounts of whistleblowers whose testimonies echo like the chimes that break the silence of a hollow bell tower. The discovery of hidden archives reveals another layer of complexity. Memos that raised early warnings, soundly ignored, lying dormant in filing cabinets. They testify to an era where voices of caution were silenced under the weight of progress and profit. It is eerily clear now, the optimization of machinery had progressed, but the enhancement of human circumstance had stalled, caught in a misfired trajectory aimed at growth. Further investigations lead us to interview those who stood at the forefront, faced by the conundrum of advocating for the disenfranchised while being ensnared themselves within the fastidious gears of the system. Their insights provide profound clarity, a lens through which economic systems can be seen not merely as an abstract force, but as a human construction, perpetuated by flawed priorities. In intimate testimonies, the casual banner of break rooms betrays undercurrents of anxiety. Camaraderie masks deeply nestled fears of obsolescence. While some remained voiceless, others chose pens over silence, documenting despondency in journals, personal chronicles displaced into the firmament of an unfolding narrative. These entries depict a striking contrast between unfulfilled industrial promises and the aspirations contained within these very walls. From these revelations emerges a renewed determination to reforge our link in this historical chain. The camera pans back to that man beneath the fluorescence, capturing a final moment of liberated resolve. Here, the question isn't merely rhetorical, it is the call to action, poised at the edge of transformation. The future, once ensnared by the specter of recurring mistakes, sways now toward an altered horizon. This is no longer just an inquiry. It is a clarion call for change, echoing along the corridors of policy and society alike, asking not just how much longer, but what must fundamentally change in our mechanism of interaction. React.js